The big news out today focuses on Royal Caribbean and the redeployment of 5 cruise ships for summer 2021. And as a matter of fact, there's so much going on right now with Royal Caribbean, and Vicky Freed has been giving some very useful updates. So stay tuned with the daily news throughout this video, and we will be able to give you great and useful information not only about when Royal Caribbean will resume cruising, but also the changes and the redeployments that are being undertaken for summer 2021. Can't miss this. Now, the big news is that Quantum of the Seas, which was based in the Chinese market, has officially stated they will be setting sail. And that's great news. As a matter of fact, what makes this news even more exciting is that crew members have already been given their letters to resume. Crew members have already been booked on flights. Crew members have already departed home to join Quantum of the Seas. So we know without a shadow of a doubt that the Singapore sailing of Quantum of the Seas is set to go. I'll give you some dates, I'll give you some rates, and in this particular daily news, you will get an idea as to what is happening for that Quantum of the Seas sailing. Now, remember, these are specific to nationals of Singapore. So even though back in the good old days of cruising, you could literally fly to that port, board the ship, and you're good, particularly because you're suffering from cruise itch, cruise fever. We can't do that yet. But we have this start of cruising. It's looking good, and we'll let you have a lot more details on this. Now, Carnival Corporation has had its first sailing happening in Italy. So their vessel, the Aida Blue, has done its first sailing. But, people will always be people, because for that first sailing, which of course would be a test to see how it goes, and also to help Carnival determine what other vessels and what other itineraries they should open up for sailing, there had to be somebody who decided we cannot follow the norm, we cannot follow the rule. And so we are just going to have to get ourselves in the news. So this is what happened. When the cruise lines now allow clients to disembark, as we've said before, it must be doing an excursion prearranged by the cruise line. So we're not allowed to wander off and do our own thing, because everybody needs to remain in a sterile bubble, a travel bubble, a secure bubble. It basically speaks to being among persons who have been vetted, going into areas that are sanitized. The path has been established, and that's the path to trod, and only that path. The intention is to keep the safety of the persons within that port, the health and safety of them, to keep that in check, and also to maintain the health status of the persons who will eventually return from a day at port back to the ship. Now, there was this one passenger who decided, I need to just venture off on my own, do my own thing. And these are the days when that brings dire consequences. And so Aida had to make that swift decision to advise said passenger that bye-bye, love, no more sailing for you. That passenger was left at port for breaking away from the group on land and going and doing their own thing. Now, Carnival Cruise Line also has to be grappling with the decision made by a judge in Florida, in Miami, that based on their previous conviction of dumping waste and polluting the waters, they will have to give a 60-day notice prior to sailing. What this basically means is because Carnival had violated the Clean Seas Agreement and they were found guilty and had to pay in the first instance in excess of 60 million US, and then the second instance about 22 million. They are not being taken at their word. So before sailing, the ruling that is looking to be handed down by this judge is you cannot make a decision to re-enter US waters without giving us prior notice 60 days in advance. We wait to see if that will be upheld. If that is so, then now we know for sure that being at the ending of October, we will not see a Carnival Caribbean sailing departing from Miami or Florida. So as the world turns, as things take shape, we are here kind of sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide float away. News comes at the speed of lightning bolt these days, and just on the heels of me making this statement about Carnival Corporation, the Miami Herald released another twist in the saga. And just so that you have a full idea as to what this is all about and where we're going, I want to take you back just a little bit to the story, just in case you might have missed it. Now, the challenge with Carnival Corporation is that they have been on probation since 2017. This is after they pled guilty to dumping oil into the ocean for several years. And as such, they have been on probation for this serious violation of the marine environmental laws. Now, the ruling that we mentioned just moments ago has been softened a bit, and now instead of 60 days prior to re-entering US waters, Carnival Corporation will have to give notice 30 days prior. And this is what the district judge for the Southern District of Florida handed down. What this means, in effect, is 30 days prior to bringing ships back, its CEO, Arnold Donald, will have to notify the court of the status of each ship's pollution prevention equipment, spare parts, staffing, voyage planning software, vetting of shoreside waste vendors, and all of this must be submitted at least 30 days prior to the ships resuming their cruises. If any of these items are incomplete, Donald will have to provide a plan and a timeline for addressing the outstanding problems. Diverting a little bit now, as the other bit of information that is quite striking is the fact that there was a passenger on Delta Airlines, and this passenger punched a member of the flight crew after a verbal abuse over mask wearing. And I tell you, the wearing of masks has become a true legendary story for angry responses. And a video has been making its way aggressively around social media, as just days ago, JetBlue had a serious altercation on board between a white man, and a Jamaican woman, and he hurled expletives at her. He used defamatory terms towards her, and somehow I figure he didn't understand the constitution of the Jamaican public, because there was a serious Jamaican style uproar against him in the plane. And I think for his benefit as well as for the benefit of everyone else, as soon as the security officers came on board and relieved him of his right to fly that day, at least, there was great cheers and celebration. And there were persons who were saying, he doesn't seem to realize he's in Jamaica. He needs to behave himself.